Well, welcome to Life Group Session 3 and the second step of the FBC Growth Track. I'm so glad that you're joining us today, and I just want to remind you of what we're doing here. If you're doing this as a part of a life group, I know you might be saying, Pastor, this is totally not what I expected. So let me just explain that this session of life groups, again, is different from our others. Normally, the format would be less of me talking and more discussion in your group. But I wanted to do this way because I believe that God has had a spiritual journey in his heart for you to take since the beginning of time. And my goal through this session of life groups is to get you started on that journey. One of God's desires was for people to have relationship with him. That's why we began this session with discovering your faith, because we wanted to make sure that you knew God. I also believe that after you have a relationship with God, it's important for you to take the next step, and that is where you get free. Well, free from what, Pastor? Number one, free from hurts and hang-ups. Free from mindsets and behaviors that keep us in bondage even after we know Christ. The other thing is, we want you to discover your purpose. Every person was born on purpose, for a purpose, and I want you to live your life on purpose. Listen to me. You are not here to exist. You are not here to survive. You are here to do something that matters. But watch this. You can't do what you don't discover. I think I'll say that again. You can't do what you don't discover. And then the last thing that we're going to do is, we know that you were created for worship. And it's my desire as your pastor for you to know what true worship is. I believe that until you worship with your life, you have no idea what it's like to truly live a full life. That's God's plan for all of us. And so at FBC, we hope that our systems lead you to all four of those steps. We want you to know God through our weekend services. We want you to get connected and get free through our small groups. We want you to discover your purpose, and then we want you to worship God consistently. Hey, did you realize that fellowship is so important to God that even he chose not to do it alone? You know that the God exists in three persons: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So it's no wonder that at the beginning of time, God declared this about man in Genesis 2:18. He said, "It is not good for man to be alone." And usually when we hear that, we hear it regarding marriage. But I just want to use it to point out that God created us in such a way that we need to be connected to other people. Living with other believers was also modeled by Christ himself. When he began his ministry, he called 12 guys to be by his side and do ministry with him. And they couldn't really help him because he was God. And yet he lived with them. He taught them, and he built relationships with them. They were in a small group. They lived life as a small group. And then when Christ left the earth, that same 12, that same group started more groups with some faithful, faith-filled friends that we see in the book of Acts. And those groups partnered together, and they changed the world with what we now know as Christianity. As a matter of fact, Acts 2:42 through 47 gives us a picture of what those groups looked like. It says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. It says everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. It says all the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. Here's the deal. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. When you read this passage, you see that the people of God were committed to one another and they helped one another. They did it through teaching, through fellowship, through communion, through prayer, through generosity, and through worship. They spent time together, eating, learning, and celebrating and supporting one another. Here's the deal. God never intended for us to live the Christian life by ourselves. The Bible encourages us to love one another, to serve one another, to encourage one another, to pray for one another, in addition to many other one another's. But we can't do any of those things if we're not connected to one another. Overall, in our society, people are losing the blessings of relationships. And there's a lot of theories as to why that's happening. But I believe that one of them is because we celebrate and we strive for independence. You know, I don't want to depend on anybody. I don't want to need anything. Did you realize that independence is a non-Christian value? Why, Pastor? Because God didn't create us to be independent. He created us to be dependent on Him and on the people in His family. All over the New Testament, the Bible calls believers to live life together. To be independent is a distinctly non-Christian way of living. In the church, we push a personal relationship with God. But hear me on this. If all you have is a personal relationship with God, you will never be who God wants you to be. I'm going to say that again. If all you have is a personal relationship with God and God only, you will never be who He wants you to be. Hear me. Never just settle for a personal relationship with God. Why, Pastor? Because there's actually something even richer, and that is when you share your relationship with God. The Bible says that wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, He's in the midst of them. And can I tell you that we oftentimes pass up opportunities to be in the presence of God because we don't want to be in the presence of other people in a small group setting. What's even better than experiencing God on your own is experiencing the glory and the power and the majesty and the goodness and the character of God in the context of a deep biblical spiritual community, a small group. And yet the reality is that so few people have that. In our culture today, we have so many external blessings, and yet internally, so many people are impoverished, relationally impoverished. I'm in a small group myself. We've been meeting for years, and I can't tell you how much of a blessing it has been to me and my family's life. The men in this group, right here at Faith Bible, we've raised our children together. We've warred together. Some days we've cried together. We've mourned together. We've laughed together. We've teased together. We've traveled together. It's been a real blessing to my life. And I can really say that the men in that group that I meet every Sunday morning are my best friends in life. You know, our world helps us to be isolated. We can very easily develop a false perception of relationships. We have hundreds and sometimes thousands of friends on social media. And yet, for some of us, there are not many we can call on. There are not many we can rely on. We still feel lonely. We can go to the store nowadays and get groceries. And we can do self-checkout without interacting with anybody. We can go buy gas and pay at the pump and never have to interact with the attendant. We can pay our bills online and never have to encounter the person behind the counter at the office. Listen to me. This world is set up for isolation. And the problem with that is that God did not design us to live in isolation. Watch what 1 Peter 5:8 says. It says, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Watch what it says. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. Listen to me. Christianity is not a playground. It's a battleground. And our enemy comes to attack. But when we got each other's back, when we're on each other's sides, notice what verse 9 says. It says that others are going through it too. Hear me on this. Part of what strengthens you in your faith, part of what strengthens you in your walk, is knowing that when you go through, you're not going through it alone. Is knowing that when Satan comes against you, he's not just coming against you. That's why small groups are important. That's why you need to be in a small group. You don't go down without the support of other people. You don't want to fight life's battles alone. You don't want to hurt financially alone. You don't want to be wandering off alone. What you want is the strength of the body of Christ standing with you, loving you, praying for you, encouraging you, and fighting with you. Because when you're alone, you're vulnerable. And can I be honest? Some of you are vulnerable right now. But can I also tell you this? That you're one life group, one small group away from changing the course of your destiny. You might be one group of strong, committed believers that you do life together with in the highs and in the lows, who lift you up, who pray for you, who encourage you, who always have your back. You might be one life group, one small group away from changing your future family, from changing future generations, from changing your ability to make a difference in this world. You might be just one small group away from changing the course of your destiny. Our prayer at FBC is that we'll continue to reach people for Jesus Christ. I told you a couple of sessions ago, if we continue to do that, our church is going to get bigger and bigger, and we'll thank God for it. But here's the deal. As our church grows, we also want it to become smaller at the same time. How's that possible? Because when you get connected with some faithful, faith-filled friends, when you get close enough to them that you can share your life and grow with them, when you feel safe enough with that group of people that they know you and what's going on with you, and you know them and what's going on with them, and they can help you grow and maneuver through life, and you can help them grow and maneuver through life, life change happens. Hear me again. Life change happens, and it happens in the context of relationships. Spiritual growth happens, and it happens in the context of relationships. Hear me on this. The disciples' lives were changed, but that life change happened in the context of a small group with Jesus Christ. Small groups give us a place to grow. Small groups give us a place to be connected. We have everything from Bible study groups to getting out of debt to getting your marriage better to personal development. There are all kinds of groups at Faith Bible Church. I'm going to say it again. Join a group. If you're not in a group, join one. If you are in a group, stay in one. Another reason why you should be in a group is for your own spiritual growth. Because we bring outside experiences into the church. One of the things we bring into the church is a consumer mentality. We come to church looking for what we can get out of it as opposed to looking for what God wants to do in us and through us. Proverbs 27:17 says that as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Listen to me. Small groups provide a place for you to be sharpened and for you to sharpen other people. Hear me on this. You need to be challenged. Other people need to be challenged. You need to be supported, and you also need to be in a position to support. You need to confide, and you need to be confided in. You need to forgive, and you need to be forgiven. Growth doesn't happen in isolation. Isolation is the enemy of growth. Small groups are God's way of helping us to grow spiritually. They are the way that he helps us change our character and improve our life. John Ortberg says that God uses people to form people. The goal of small groups is to create environments where spirit-driven, life-giving experiences can flourish through faithful, faith-built friends. At Faith Bible Church, our small groups are designed to connect people to Christ, connect people to the church, and connect people to one another. Acts 2:46 and 47 says this: every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. There are three types of small group at Faith Bible Church. Number one, there's a Bible study group. The purpose of a Bible study group is to study and learn the Bible. In that type of group, you'll learn the Bible in a systematic way. Of course, you'll learn the Bible in all of our groups, but you'll find that in the Bible study group, the teachings are more in-depth. Your group will try to learn and understand the Bible in a systematic structure. Another type of small group is a discipleship small group. This type of group is geared toward learning the Bible for the purpose of leading at Faith Bible Church. Everyone who desires to be a leader at Faith Bible or is a leader at Faith Bible is required to be in a discipleship group. That doesn't mean that only leaders can join these groups, but what it does mean is that you can't be a leader without being in a discipleship group. And then the most popular group, the one that most people are in at FBC, is the life group. At Faith Bible Church, life groups have one simple purpose: to bring people together. We believe God created us to live in community with others, and only when we live in community with others can we experience the life that God intends for us. We believe that life change happens in the context of relationships. Meaningful relationships can be hard to find, and small groups exist to make life-changing relationships accessible to you. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 that two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they'll keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three strands is not quickly broken. In our life groups, we want to connect people relationally for the purpose of growing in Christ likeness and loving one another. All of our life groups offer people a place to connect, a place to protect, and a place to grow. Well, Pastor, what's the structure of the groups? Our groups meet throughout the year in 3 semesters. They meet weekly during each semester. Semesters consist of winter and spring. That's January through May, and it lasts about 12 weeks with a break in between. And then there's the summer semester that's in June and July that lasts about 4 to 6 weeks. And then the fall semester from September to November, and that lasts about 12 weeks with a break in between. Well, Pastor, where do groups meet? In all kinds of places, virtually, online, in homes, in restaurants, in coffee shops, in office buildings, all over the place. And we try to have new groups starting every semester so that we make it easy for people to get connected. Listen to me. No matter what your group meets about, here's what you can expect at every group. Some casual fellowship where you have a laid-back time for group members to talk and get to know each other. Some activity or discussion. some prayer and a spiritual component. The spiritual component is what differentiates your small group from the neighborhood whatever club. And whether it's activities or discussions, there's always going to be the Word of God included in your small group. I want to thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for going through step 2 of our growth track. And your takeaway for today is join a small group and go to the next step. Again, commit to completing all 4 steps to become a fully engaged member of Faith Bible Church. God bless you. You are now in the hands of your host.